Good evening, YouTube. It is Monday, the 21st of August, and I'm on my way home, but I'm stuck on the M25 heading north past Heathrow. So I thought, as I'm going slowly, I'll do a video because then I won't have much road noise. So let me tell you about today. So yesterday, Sunday, I got a job came up from Wisbech going to London N17, and I really wanted to avoid London, but because of my experiences on Friday being quite so bad, I felt that the opportunity to get a job on Sunday for the following day was probably worth the risk. So my plan was to get the job and then just to drive north, probably towards Milton Keynes, and look for a job heading back away from London as soon as possible. In terms of the um, job, it was from, as I said, from Wisbech, which is not that far from me, and it was. Oh, the van was for 96 miles, and the van they wanted was a small wheelbase. They said in the notes that they wanted specifically a van, a Vivaro type van or bigger. Well, I don't know how big a Vivaro type van is, but I know that mine is probably bigger, so I just applied for it. And I put on 130 pounds for that job, and I got it quite quickly. Um, so that was on Sunday. So Monday to this morning, I made my way to an 8:30 pickup time. I got there about 8:15, and they had 5 minutes to get ready. Then I was starting to get loaded at 8:20, and then I was finished loading. I was handballing on stuff and securing it with a couple of straps, but I was being helped to put it on, so it wasn't such a big deal. And so I made my way down out of there at 8:40 towards London, and ended up tipping at London and being finished at 11:10. And I would say that both at the pickup and at the drop-off, both of the groups of people I met were really nice people. So I just want to acknowledge that we often focus, I think, on shippers or shippers mainly, or how they are, and most of them are really nice. But today, the actual customers were just really laid back, friendly people, and they helped me unload and load, so no problems at all with them. The second customer, the one I dropped off at, said that what he was taking was a regular load. And I thought, oh, okay, if it's regular, I'll probably ask the shipper if there's any opportunity to do more of this, because it was a really nice experience all over. The only problem with it is it ends up in London, but it is the very north of London, so not crossing London, and it is just about in the ULEZ zone, so it's not very far down. So N17 was quite a useful place to be. And then I got myself off site and to the local Tesco's, and I was looking for jobs, and I thought, well, because when you're in London, I always get like 20 or 30 alerts while I'm doing while I'm arriving. So I needed to make sure I wasn't missing anything obvious before I made my way out. And there were probably about 3 or 4 jobs that I bid on, before I'd even really left the site. And I put on money I'd like to do it for. So I wasn't going very cheap. So basically around about the £1 a mile. Actually, let me tell you what my quotes were, because I think sometimes that might be quite useful. I'll just run through a few of the ones that I did from London. So the first one I've got on my list is going from London to Swansea. I remember this one. It was for a large wheelbase van, and I was desperately trying to work out with the calculator how much to bid. And in the end, I bid, it's 190 miles, 190 miles, That's for one pallet. And I bid for that job £215, 215. Didn't get it, but I wasn't going too cheap. But I wasn't. I think that's a really good price for a large wheelbase van job. Oh, by this point, actually, I must say I'd made what I think, in hindsight, was an error. But I'm never quite sure about this situation. I'll tell you what I did. I bid on a job for tomorrow morning going from Boston to Lincoln. So Boston's about half an hour from where I live, and it was a 38-mile trip, and it was asking for a small van. So I stuck on £50, just a minimum price, just as I was doing other stuff today, and I got it quite quickly. And what that then meant is that I have to get home tonight because I've got this job in the morning. Now, I think in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have done that because it was quite a small job. It's only a £50 job, and it's a 9 o'clock start. So by the time I've got to Lincoln, it'll be 10 o'clock, and the morning I'll be gone. So for two reasons, I think it was the wrong thing to do in hindsight. But obviously I'm not going to change it. I'm committed to it now. Also, at the same time, there was a job from Corby to Liverpool, leaving at 3 o'clock tomorrow. So I did think, well, I'll bid on that, because if I'm going to be in Lincoln at about 10, Corby, if I can get from Corby to Liverpool, I'll just stay around the area. So I put some bids on. The job came on about 3 or 4 times during the day, and my first bid that I put on for that job, just finding it, was £150, £150, and that job got cancelled. But that was actually on this afternoon. Yeah, so later on in the afternoon, it got reposted about half an hour later, at the same bid on £150. No, actually, if I go back through the day, it was first posted at 11:35. I bid £157 for 157 miles, a pound a mile exactly, and it got cancelled. Then I picked up again at 2:02. I bid £155, 155. It got cancelled again, and then I bid, as I said, the third time 150, and the fourth time 150 again, and every time it got cancelled. And the last time I got a message saying your quote was unsuccessful, which I think means the shipper just discounted it out of hand, didn't even bother selling the. Well, it doesn't say sold or cancelled, so it might still be on the system, but obviously I can't bid for it. Actually, I'm wondering if I was to click into it. I might do that later. I'll click into it tomorrow and see what. Obviously, 150 is too much for them, but that's less than a pound a mile. It is a small van job, and it is. And the reason why I think it's fair is because it's pitched at 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, so it's not like it's not that convenient. I don't happen to be there within half an hour of the journey. It's booking ahead a day before in the afternoon. It's not even a day before in the morning. So I think it's strange that they wouldn't go for my pricing, but obviously it's not urgent, and obviously they're expecting to get a lot less than a pound a mile. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm sure I'll come again tomorrow. Who knows? I might still get it. And then to look at other jobs that came up in London then this morning that I bid on. There was a Waltham Cross EN8, which I was very close to, going to Fareham PO15. I bid £115, 115, for a small wheelbase van. The mileage is 108 miles. Basically, I was 8 miles away from it. I put £8 plus £107, made £115. So that's how I judged that. Basically, pound a mile, including getting there. And that job was actually cancelled in the end. And then another job in the morning that I bid on, Hemel Hempstead to Manchester. It was a small wheelbase van job. It was 168 miles. I bid £150, and obviously at this point I knew I had to get back home for tomorrow morning. So getting to Manchester wasn't necessarily going to be very easy for me to get back. But I thought for £150, I'd made my money for today, and I'd make my way back tonight. Yeah, I did get that. So there were some jobs that I could have got out, and I just obviously bid too much for them, or they got cancelled. But I did get a job not long after I was sitting there. So the job that I got was from very close to me. It was from N18 going to Hook, like near Reading, and it was 58.5 miles, and I bid £60, and I got it. And it just said it had 40 boxes. Now the 40 boxes bit wasn't in the note on the alert page. It was only in the notes when I actually got given the job. So I was a bit reluctant to have to handle 40 boxes, but my thinking was, it's a job out of London, be grateful for it, get on with it, and just see how the job goes. Don't preempt it's going to be bad, because 40 boxes could be really heavy or really light. It could be on a pallet, or it could be handballed on. So until I get there, I don't know what to expect. So I made my way over to that pickup, and I got there reasonably quickly. I was there on site at 11:45, so within half an hour of finishing my previous job, and I couldn't find the actual unit. So I rang the number on the booking, and it went to answer phone pretty quickly. So then I rang the shipper, but I rang the shipper by accident, because I thought what I was doing was recalling the number I tried a few moments ago. So I called the number, went to answer phone. I had to look around the building, asked a few people where this unit was. They couldn't help me, so I redialed the number, or so I thought I had. I redialed the number, and an interesting thing happened. I don't always do this, but I think it is the right thing that I should do. Is when the phone answered, I said, "Hi, it's X, my name, from AB Couriers," the name of the couriers. They're not called AB Couriers, they're just, I made that up. And obviously my name isn't X either. So I said, "I'm X from AB Couriers, I can't find you." And actually I'd rung by accident the actual shipper. And it took me a while to realise what was going on, and I recognised his voice, and then he said, "Oh, I'll give you another number." And I was really glad that I made that mistake in hindsight, because later on, when I got the number texted to me, I said, "Thank you for the number, I found it now, all sorted." And I got a reply saying, "Excellent telephone manner," meaning I'd introduced myself as being X from AB Couriers. So that made me think of something which I want to ask at the end of this video. I've written it down so I won't forget. I've got a question to ask you at the end of this video. It's a genuine question. I'll give you the context at the end. So I found the pickup place, because the number works that I was calling, the number I was given. I picked up the boxes. There were only 25 boxes in the end, and they were stacked quite neatly against a bulkhead. I got help from a guy to put them in my van. I was in my van. He passed them to me. I put them in front of my van, and then I got them all strapped up very neatly, and then I made my way towards the drop-off. And because I had the text number of the shipper, I just said, "Loaded 25 boxes on my way to the drop-off now," just for your information. And then I made my way to Hook. It was about 2 hours on the sat nav, because I was having to get out of London. And I made it to Hook and got unloaded, handballed everything into the warehouse, and I was finished by 2:15. So now I was out of London, which was good, and now I had to try and find another job heading back towards Peterborough area. And I looked at jobs, and I got in the end I decided that I would bid on pretty much anything. And I've been on a job and I got it again quite quickly, but it was going in the wrong direction. It was going from a place half an hour from where I was. It's called Hazley Bottom. It's like a little village. And it was heading down to Gosport. Now, if I was going to guess, I would say Gosport is the northeast. It sounds like a northeast place, but it's actually next to Portsmouth. So I was heading right down to the south coast. So yeah, I picked up that. I travelled for about half an hour. I picked up the parcel. It's one box. I bid on that £50, and the mileage. No, sorry, I bid £60 because the mileage was 58.5 miles. So I picked up the box, nice and easy. Took it down from. No, wait, that's right. I'm looking at the wrong one. That was the hook one, £60. The mileage was 51 miles going down to Gosport, and I did bid £60. Forgot what I bid. So yeah, I took that parcel down to Gosport. I got it delivered, and by the time I picked it up, and I finished picking up, it was 10 to 3. By the time I got to Gosport and unloaded, it was 20 past 4. And I thought, this is going all right today. I just need to get home with a job and it'd be a nice day. And at this point, I needed fuel because I was down to sort of 2 miles to go. So I was trying to find a fuel station, and as I was driving the 6 miles north to Fareham, a job came up from Gosport going to Slough. I was actually there. I was at Gosport. I was in the same postcode, and I put a bid on. It was 75 miles, put £75 on. I thought, if I get that, that's perfect. But I have to get my fuel first. So I headed up to get the fuel because I didn't want to pick it up without knowing I've got a job. Anyway, but I was already on my way to 6 miles to get the fuel. And by the time I got to the fuel place, the job was gone. And I was a bit disappointed because I thought I felt good about that. Then I put the fuel in, and then a job came up as I was putting the fuel in from Fareham to, I think it might have been Twickenham, or not Twickenham, about the house there, I think. Is it London area anyway? No, Daventry. I think it was Daventry. And it was perfect. It was getting me up north. But I couldn't work out how far I was from the postcode. I think it was Havant to Daventry, and I couldn't work out how far I was from the postcode. And I went to an ETA because it was sort of 4:30 by now. I didn't want to guess, but by the time I was in the middle of the fuel station paying for my fuel. Anyway, the bottom line is, by the time I got out of the fuel station, the job had been, and I found out the number of miles. I was 20 minutes away from that job. It had gone. Now I'm not too bothered because it's highly likely that it would have gone to somebody actually with price I was prepared to do it for anyway. So, but it's just unfortunate I was in the middle of paying for my fuel when this job came through. It doesn't happen very often, but it happened today. And then I had another job from Fareham going to. Let's have a look where it went to. Oh yeah, that was it. Fareham to Bristol. But because I was in a rush, I didn't realise it was going to Bristol. I thought it was a re-entry one of the Fareham going to Slough one. So the Fareham to Slough one, I bid £75 walking 75 miles. And then when I finished the station, Fareham to Bristol came up, but I misread it as being Fareham to Slough again. So I put another bid on £75. But the actual delivery was 91 miles. It was for a large wheelbase. And interestingly, I didn't get that job. So the first job was cancelled, the Fareham to Slough job. And the one that I mistook for being that job, Fareham to Bristol, was sold. And I was at Fareham. Farnham. I'm saying the wrong name. Farnham. Every time I said Fareham in the previous sentence, it should be Farnham. I was at Farnham, and I didn't get the job, and I bid way below £1 a mile, £75 for a 91-mile journey. So I'm glad I didn't get it because I would have headed the wrong way. But it's a lesson to read the notes properly, or read the booking properly. And then another one came up, which wasn't ideal. It was Dorking to Warrington. But it was one of those. It said in the notes it was picking up from a driver that had broken down, taking a single parcel back to a warehouse in Warrington. And I thought, well, I'm too far away from that one. It picked up within an hour, and I was about an hour and a half away from Dorking at this point. I put a bid on of £200, and the mileage was £218, and it wasn't ideal for me to go to Warrington, but I thought if I'm going to pay £200 to do it, I'll head to Warrington and just then mile it back home. It would have been a very long day, and I might have regretted it. But in the end, I didn't get it. It was too rich for the person who wanted to sell it. And then finally, there was an absolutely almost perfect job for me. It's just that I wasn't in the right place. It came on at 5:20, and by this point, I was starting to just head north away from Farnham. And it was from NW10 from London going to Wisbech. And I thought that's an amazing job, but it was a pickup at 6:15, and it was basically 55 minutes, and I was about an hour and 10 minutes away from it, hour and 5 maybe at best. But I had to go around the M25 where I am at the moment, and I just felt that even if I got it, I'd have to explain I'd be later than the time they want. So I put a bid in. I put a bid of £100 for 104 miles. It was a small van job. I didn't get it. I'm not surprised because I probably was someone closer. But it was just the reason I'm mentioning these is that today, after my third job, I got some opportunities for some really good fourth jobs, and it just so happens I didn't get them today. I was in the wrong place, or I was bidding too much. But this is the great thing about this job. Even on a day like today, which is going to end up being under target, every moment of that day could one job can change it. I'll give you some stats for today in a moment, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be under target. I've got my mileage done for being home, and I'll put the time for me being home and tell you what it comes out as. But even now, I'm just coming around the M25. I might get a job of £50, £60 job, even now on the way back. It's unlikely because it's now 7 o'clock, but it could happen. So I've decided that I am just going to head home because I've got the job in the morning from Boston. And that's, if I didn't have the job in the morning, I'd be tramping out near Portsmouth or Southampton tonight and be getting a job in the morning going somewhere else. So because of me taking that job tomorrow, it has meant that I've missed out on potential work from where I ended up today. So it was a mistaken job in many ways. But saying that, who's to know? Maybe I'm in Lincoln tomorrow and I get an amazingly good job at 10 o'clock tomorrow. So I'm still hopeful that even with the decision seeming to be the wrong one, it will end up being okay tomorrow. Maybe we're in a good day tomorrow. So let's have a look at my spreadsheet. I'm going to assume that I get back when my sat nav tells me, i.e. I won't get another job. So today I have worked, or I will have worked for 13 and a half hours. I will have done when I get home 427 miles. With my fuel that I put in at Farnham, I now have a new average price for this week, and that's 15.04 pence at the moment. So based on that, I've spent £64 and 23 pence on fuel today. My earnings so far, and probably will be all I get, is £250 today, 250. That's 3 CX jobs, the £130 from Wisbech to N17, the £60 job from N18 going across to Hook, and then the £60 going from the Hazley Bottom village down to Gosport. And that means that after fuel, I have earned today £186, 186. And that is below target. But if I'd got a job for £70, £60, it would have been on target or very close to target. So one small job would have made today, in inverted commas, successful. And as it is, it's not been successful, but sometimes it's fine. And to be fair, they're all CX jobs. People are struggling with CX, so I feel fortunate to have got the jobs. Um, Maybe I need to nuance my pricing, but today I was happy with what I did. I wasn't quite in the right place at the right time. I got out of London, which is always very hard. So I regard today as being pretty successful, really. Um, yeah. So my question, and I'd really like to get some answers to this, and I'll give you some context. So I was thinking. I responded to a couple of comments at the weekend. I think there was a guy who I won't say his name, but I replied to a guy who'd given me a few comments at the weekend, and some of the comments were about how do you win work, and the short answer is I don't win work because I'm too busy with what I've got at the moment, and B, I've decided that I'm going to do it in January when it's quiet and I've got some time. And when I say win work, I mean go out and try and find my own end users. And I'm not looking forward to it, but it's something I need to do. I need to get out there and sort of grow that aspect of my business. And it's going to be really difficult. And I've got some ideas about what I'm going to do. But off the back of that, I was thinking, if I've got my own customers, my own end users, I'm going to really want them to feel they're getting great customer service. And I realised that I've got myself into a pattern of behaviours that I'm comfortable with. And I just wanted to kind of double check. Maybe I'm missing something about customer service. I'm sure there are people out there that do some things that are really excellent for their end user customers. I'm thinking about end user customers, but actually, if you do these things for shippers, I think it's still relevant. Anything to do with dealing with your customers. And I'm going to give you a brief overview about the kind of the tram lines I'm working to at the moment. So when I started doing this job, I didn't really know at all what to do. I learnt it by watching YouTube videos and by doing the job. And these are the things that I do every single time, to a greater or lesser extent, that I think are relevant to this conversation. The first thing I try and do is I always thank the shipper for giving me the job, and I always try and thank the people when they help me load or unload. So it's showing gratitude to the people that help me do my job. Second thing I always do is I always take a photograph of the items on my van and when I've delivered them. Sometimes I forget, or sometimes it's hard to because they get whisked away from me. But that's what I try and do all the time. And I upload that photograph to the CX system. The next thing I do is I always have my own pods written as well as the customer pods. I very rarely don't do my own ones, and it does add time and effort, but I feel it's a better way of doing it. Sometimes customers are surprised I've got my own paperwork, and I think that in itself is a good customer service thing. I'm taking at the collection point a signature as well as the delivery point. I always try to be on time or early to pickups. I always give ETA that is absolutely realistic, and very rarely am I late. And if I am late, I then always call the shipper. To be fair, if I'm more than say 10 minutes late, I call the shipper. If I'm up to 5 minutes late, I possibly won't call anyone. And between 5 and 10 minutes, I might call someone depending on, I suppose, who it is. But maybe what I should do instead is maybe I should always call the shipper if I'm even a minute late. I don't know. What do you think? So I kind of have a certain way of working that I do all the time. And I'm wondering, and the thing is, when I spoke to the shipper today and accidentally said, "Hi, I'm X from A and B Couriers," obviously from the shipper's point of view, they like that from a driver because it's more professional. Now, I probably should do that more often if I'm calling customers. Tell them my name and tell them who I'm from. And that's probably one thing I learned today, that maybe I should do that more as a matter of course. Maybe I should call. So maybe the question is, maybe I should always call the customer no matter what, even if I'm not going to be late, to tell them when I'm going to be there, because they might not know. And in that case, I could then say I'm X from A and B Couriers. So I think maybe that's something I could start to do. That would be a better customer service thing. Anyway, this is my question. Could you? I've given you an outline about what I've kind of do regularly, so you don't have to mention those things. But what are the things that you do or you've seen being done, or you would recommend that one should do to give someone what I would call excellent customer service, like the creme de la creme customer service? I think the other thing I try and do is I try and be upbeat and friendly when I'm talking to people when I'm at the drop off and delivery point. And I think that's just part of trying to give a good impression. I think as well. And if they're annoyed, just kind of listen to them and sort of let them. Don't argue with people. So I suppose there's lots of don'ts there's things you can do that are don'ts. But I'm probably thinking about what other things that I could do when I work with my own customers to really feel I'm giving them the best customer service. And I suppose here, I have in my mind, if you're a shipper, you would probably have a good thing to say here as well. What do you want to have from the best drivers? So I think one of the things I've learned is that shippers like someone they can talk to, like someone they can understand and that they can relate to, as in they can explain something to and they know it's been understood. So a good grasp of the English language and able to communicate. So I'm sure that's something, but I haven't really thought twice about that because I think I can do that. But is there anything from a shipper's point of view or from you as drivers, which you do, which you would say this is how you are the best, provide the best customer service? Because I bet there are nuggets of things out there that I haven't even thought about that I can start to implement into my own practice. So I'd love to know what those things are that I'm not even thinking about, that I've just either not come across or not thought about, or maybe I don't appreciate how good they are. Okay, I think I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening. Let's see if there's anything else on my list. No. I'll leave it there, I think. What have you learnt today?